Hey everybody, welcome to another DeLorean Tech Bring a Trailer live stream. We've got this 1981 DeLorean. It looked pretty affordable for a while up until about, I guess today. It was at 22,000 for quite a while, and then it sort of jumped up to 30 today, and now it's at 35,250. So it's an automatic gray interior. It has a few little kind of what I would consider cosmetic issues with it, but the seller, who's actually a car dealer, just uploaded a video here showing the car. Let's get the chat going. Here we go. Showing the car running. Oh, he's got a few more videos as well. So this is kind of cool. So there's a few videos here from YouTube. Looks like he's got it running, and it sounded pretty good. I was almost tempted to bid on this thing myself, but it's a little more than what I would pay for what I would consider a project car. My definition of a project car maybe not the same as others, but this would have been a great car to kind of acquire and work on, maybe do a bunch of new videos of, really intrigued by sort of the automatic cars, because, owning a manual car, you really just kind of get acquainted with that. But the automatic cars, that's a whole new thing, right? A lot to the car that's the same, but there is quite a bit different. That would have been very interesting. But now that it's at 35,250, which I still consider to be a pretty fair price, I don't think I'm interested in getting it anymore. And we've got 46 minutes to go here, so this could end up in the 40s, right? And seems to be a nice car. And yeah, so one of the things I wanted to do differently for this live stream is I wanted to bring in our good friend Chris 88 Miles, just to get his take on this car here. So we're going to dial him in. He's got a few minutes to chat here, and let's see if I can get him on speaker here.
Hello.
Yo, Chris.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Hey, you're live on DeLorean Tech right now.
Great.
Yeah, so this 81 that's for sale right now, this automatic, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it looks like a pretty good car. It's got that stage 1 exhaust, which is a good extra. It looks like the interior is in pretty good shape. It just has probably some deferred maintenance. So that might scare some people away, but with the way the car's selling, I think this is probably going to get bid up in the last few minutes, but we'll have to wait and see.
I agree. It looks pretty nice. I mean, it might be a turnkey car. Here, I was thinking project, but again, like I mentioned before, my definition of project may not be the same as others that, right? So you actually just acquired a project car of your own, a second DeLorean, and I think you're actually doing some restoration work on it. How's that going?
It's been going pretty good. I hit a little snag. I wasn't expecting to have to replace a clutch, but this car has been sitting since 1989.
Wow.
And the engine hadn't run since then, so I got it all running now, and I was able to drive it for maybe about a couple of minutes around the block, and then the clutch went out completely. So I've got to do that. But it'll be a really good car for someone. I just want to kind of get it into a drivable shape, and then it would be a good base for someone to take over and do some more customizations that suits a new owner, like suspension work and things like that.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. So the car you've got, you're planning on selling it at some point. Or are you gonna just try to sell it on, the Facebook groups, or are you gonna go for being a trailer? What's your plan there?
I haven't thought about it too much. I'd like to do it word of mouth at first, and try to find someone maybe within our circle or locally.
Yep.
But if that doesn't work out, then it might be cool to do some kind of DeLorean Tech team up and promote the car that way.
That's a good idea. We've done that before. We've helped a few sellers try to. Actually, I think it was Don Stager a couple times there.
Right.
Help sell those DeLoreans and try to get those DeLoreans in the right hands, right? So
Right.
the car you've got, That's a manual car, I believe, right? And so the clutch went out. You're getting that fixed. Everything else, I think, was pretty much there, though, right? I mean, you're getting it to the point where it can be driven on a regular basis, which is important, right? This car that I'm looking at here, this automatic, there was quite a bit of like mystery about it at first. Like we just didn't know enough about it until the owner started to, post videos and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was sort of a mystery at first, but I think whoever gets this car, and it's sitting at 34 or 35,000, a little over right now. I think I think it's not a bad car, not a bad car at all.
And it seems like a lot of people are wanting automatics these days. I've noticed there's been an uptick in interest in having an automatic.
Yeah, I think less and less people are knowing how to drive a manual. So, and it's foreign territory for a lot of new owners now. A lot of the newer owners are younger now. They just, that's kind of foreign territory. There's no opportunity to really, learn how to drive a manual, right now. I mean, really, this might be it. And a lot of people are just like, well, it's automatic. I could just jump in, drive it, and not have to worry about learning how to drive a stick, right? So, in the automatic, there is a convenience to it, right? I mean, some of the time machine owners, for example, they opt for an automatic simply because it's just easier to navigate when they're at a show or whatever, right? And for a lot of owners, of stock DeLoreans, I think it's more of a comfort level,
Right.
I've actually never driven an automatic DeLorean before. It's kind of, so I probably should do that. We've got a few automatic owners in our little circle here in Southern California, Northern California. Probably should just jump in and see what it's like, right?
Yeah. It's a different experience, but it's still a DeLorean. And I was in an automatic recently that I've been helping an owner fix up, and he really was able to punch it, and it was going. So I think there might be a little myth about how bad the automatics are, but I think if you have a really good automatic transmission and it's been taken care of, and you have a new transmission governor computer, I think they can be good cars.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's the whole thing about the transmission and the governor, and I know that DMC kind of has it covered there with at least Danny Botkin's governor, right? I mean, there's some upgrades that you can do to make the car run smoother. I've ridden in an automatic before. We did a video of automatic versus manual, and it was a stage 2 automatic, and that thing was pretty fast. So there's definitely potential for automatics. You can't discount those, right?
Right. And I think at this point, people are so into the car that the transmission might not be like one of those deal breaker things that if it's automatic, hey, it's a DeLorean, I want to get it. And
Agreed.
yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Chris. I really appreciate you calling in and kind of giving us your opinion on this car and sort of automatics in general. And looking forward to seeing that car that you're working on. What's the VIN number?
It's been 10,041, so it's a really early 82.
Wow.
Of kind of the first batch of 82s.
That's awesome. Really awesome. So it's got a flat hood or a grooved hood?
It's a grooved hood. I'm sorry, it's a flat hood.
Flat hood, okay.
Flat hood.
So it's a bona fide 82. All right. Sweet. Awesome. All right, Chris, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
What this car sells for.
Yeah, same here. All right, take it easy, man.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So that was Chris Miles, good friend of DeLorean Tech. He's done quite a few videos with us here. I think one of the most recent ones was the trailing arm bolt installation video, and also the replacement video with the Inconel 718s, and also the fuel accumulator replacement, which has been great, at least for the DeLorean Tech car. I know another buddy, Lenny Hocktile, who has a time machine. He's going to be getting his fuel accumulator replaced here in the coming weeks. So he's been having some hot start issues, which is, you know, a common thing with the car because of the fuel system. Letting fuel sit in the tank for a long time, and that fuel system just, you know, needs to be maintained. So fuel lines, injectors need to be cleaned. The fuel accumulator has been a known and confirmed culprit of hot start issues. So that's what he's going to try first. He can always also try the Dave McKean electronics. So you've got the solid state RPM relay, which he offers, which offers a few little fixes to hot start issues. That's a pretty recommended upgrade. And also the hot start relay, which he has as well. So back to this DeLorean here. So it's currently still sitting at 35,250 with 36 minutes to go. So let's find out. Okay, so it was early this morning where it was bid up to about 25,000, and just after that 30,000. So somebody, Ruru, had a bid at 30,000 on this car. So for a while, several days actually, it was sitting at like 22,472. And this is back on March 19th. And it's got a stage 1 exhaust, so that really does help. It's not a stage 2 car, but you know, the stock DeLorean exhaust really kind of left a lot to be desired. And you know, if you're in an automatic, it's even more detrimental, I guess, to performance. So stage 1 really frees up some of that horsepower that's really lurking in that PRV that you need to really figure a good ways to tap into, right? So like I was mentioning before when Chris was on, I had a chance to ride in and check out a stage 2 automatic, which I think really, if you're going to go with an automatic, that's the way to go. Now granted, the exhaust is pretty loud, although the new Gen 2 stage 1 exhaust isn't quite as loud as the sort of the original stage 1 exhaust. Still sounds really nice, but not quite as loud. And actually, if you want a quiet car, but you do want to upgrade to stage 1, stage 2, according to what I've heard, there are ways that you can quiet down the muffler. I don't know what sort of sacrifices you would be making on a horsepower, but there actually is a way to quiet that down. So this car is currently still sitting at 35,250. So this car is currently still sitting at 35,250. We got about a half hour to go. All right, so let's start taking a look at what we've got here. So we've got an 81. What I really like about this car is so it's an automatic, but it's a gray interior automatic, which I think looks a lot better than the black interior automatics, which I think are more common than the gray interior automatics. It's fairly original-ish. It's got, you know, they call it an aftermarket exhaust system on here, but that's actually a DMC Stage 1 Gen 2. You can tell by the muffler. It's got the original Craig. Looks like it's been registered in New Jersey, so East Coast car, potentially, back in 2013. Accident-free. I know they mentioned that they went through the fuel system, and I was looking through some of the invoices that he had posted here, and it looks like it was pretty substantial work. The only thing I think they didn't do, and we can take a look at it, is the fuel lines. So they may not have replaced those, but that's not a deal breaker by any means. Let's see what else we got here. So it's got 12,000 miles, but as I was reading here, there was some sort of mystery about how many actual miles the car might have. But we do know that it has at least put, someone has at least put 12,000 miles on this car. More than likely more, because I believe the angle drive wasn't working for a period of time, but apparently it's working now. What else here? Being sold by a dealer. He's got 225s in the back versus the 235s. Not actual miles are listed on the title. More than likely because they just, reported it as unknown. The angle drive. So here's a photo of the engine compartment. You can see the original fuel lines are still in there. Again, not a huge deal breaker, but it looks like they did actually do some work on it. Fuel accumulator, filter, and injectors were all replaced, which arguably are probably a little bit more difficult to replace versus the fuel lines. Fuel lines, though, it is a time-consuming process. Let's see what else we got here. So there's your stage 1 exhaust system. Okay, so here's some of the work. So this is the invoice for the fuel system work that had been done. So you can tell he's got fuel accumulator was replaced, 6 fuel injectors. So he's got the clips, fuel injector seal, air filter, fuel filter, oil filter, battery, fluids. Okay, so looks like the car wasn't starting at some point, maybe a cold or hot start issue. So they went ahead and just kind of did what they did with the fuel system here. Spent over $5,000 in labor alone. So this is a $7,300 bill. He's got a lot of looks like just historic articles here on the, and this is a certificate of title. So we're still sitting at $35,250, and Chris seemed to think that the car will probably jump up a little bit towards the end. That's probably likely. $35,250 is really low for a car like this. I remember when I was shopping around for my car, I came across an 81. It was a manual car. This was definitely better condition than that one was, but they were asking for about the same, about 35, and that was back in 2018 when I saw that car. So to get this car at 35 would be a pretty good deal. And it's currently the only DeLorean on Bring a Trailer currently. So, Clad Creeper wishes DeLoreans were a bit cheaper. Really want to, so he's from the UK. Yes, shipping to the UK would not be cheap. I honestly don't know how much that would be. But, yeah, I do know a few cars. I know Chris himself, who was just on a little earlier, he had a second DeLorean. It was a red car. The Hot Wings car, we call it, or Big Red. So that car, he had it a few years ago. We did a video on it. It's a pretty cool video, just highlighting everything about that car. And he ended up selling it to a new owner in France. So he actually sent the car overseas to Europe. And I honestly, I don't remember what the shipping was on that. It was quite a bit though. 10,000 or something like that. It was just a really so if you can figure out a way to get it over there cheaply, that'd be ideal. But I know that shipping a car overseas is not a cheap thing to do. So it is what it is. So yeah, you're right. If you could get it a little lower, that might make up for that shipping charge, right? Getting it overseas there. I know there's a lot of owners who have had the car shipped down to New Zealand and Australia, Japan, for example. I met an owner once upon a time. I was picking up some floor mats from an owner in a local owner here in Southern California, and I was picking up some floor mats for my buddy Chris Mack. And the owner had just sold his DeLorean to a new owner in Japan. And for some reason, he still had the floor mats. I think he had replaced the ones in the car, and he kept the originals and was selling them. So I went and picked those up. And yeah, so it's pretty common getting these cars. Try to get them cheap and then ship them overseas. That's kind of the thing right now. So it's kind of hard to say where this car is going to end up right now. We have Liquid Snake, who appears to be pretty serious about this car, has only bid on this particular car. So good luck to him. And destination zip. Okay, so I actually put in my zip, and it looks like you've got somewhere between 21 to $3,500 or so. So you know, this car is in New Jersey right now. Probably be a bit cheaper, maybe, to ship it to Europe from the East Coast of the U.S. I don't know. So this vehicle ships anywhere in the contiguous 48 states using Bring a Trailer. So I don't know that they're providing any sort of options here for any overseas or out-of-country shipping here. So that might just be on the buyer, whoever wins this auction. We've got 23 minutes left to go, and it's still sitting at 35,250, so it has not moved. And 35,250 would be a really awesome deal. If someone can land this car for 35,250, that would be a really smoking deal for this car. Now, there was some issues with the hood, and we can take a look at that real fast here. You know, hoods, I honestly don't know. So you can see it right here. Apparently there was some buckling of the hood. You can see what's going on here. It's lifted. The hood itself doesn't look that bad. I mean, looks like there's a lot of scuffing going on here. So this might be a hood that needs to be replaced. But the reality is that, you know, if it were me, I wouldn't be losing any sleep over the hood. I mean, there's, you know, patience if you want to get a grooved hood. They do sell for a lot. You can tell it's kind of, it is buckled. You can see right around here. I don't know if I can zoom in on that, but you can kind of tell there's some issues going on here. So the hood might have to be replaced. That's, you know, depending on if you want to replace it with a grooved hood, you know, that could cost you a few $1,000s depending on, you know, the condition of the hood. You might be able to take this off and put a flat hood on there and maybe get this fixed. I mean, there's ways of doing that. That would be, you know, just totally something that I wouldn't really worry too much about. It does look kind of weird, but the reality is that if you were to land this for $35,000, that would be a non-issue to me. And the car itself, the rest of the body, looks all right. So let's kind of look at this car. The only thing that stood out to me was that hood. I didn't really notice anything else that was significant. I mean, these cars were hand built, so I know the DeLorean Tech cars, a lot of stuff doesn't line up. It is what it is, and after a while, you just don't care because, you know, once you get this car to where you want it to be drive-wise, all that stuff just kind of, you know, you get numb to it, right? The goal is to get this car out there and driving, and you can worry about the cosmetic stuff later on. So being first order of business is to get a good running car, or a car that's within close distance of a good running car, and this appears to be that. So he did have a video. He posted a video of it running. I think a lot of the commenters on here, a lot of the folks who were bidding on it wanted to know more about this car, right? It's being offered by a dealer, so they're probably really busy. They probably just figured, hey, just throw it up, see what happens, right? But they did manage to get a few videos that I think were definitely needed. Videos can either make or break a sale, especially on a site like this, right? And these photos are photos, right? But they don't really show you everything about the car. Walk around videos, videos of the car running, videos of the undercarriage. Speaking of the undercarriage, just see what kind of photos we have of the undercarriage. It was fairly stock. Everything was fairly original here. He's got the original tool kit. You can tell that these grates here may have been replaced. They look lighter. I don't know. Maybe it's just the flash, it's just the camera. Those probably look original here. So engine compartment stuff. Yeah, it doesn't have the ignition coil cover over here, but that's an easy replacement. He's got the metal bottle, the coolant overflow bottle here, so that's good. He's got the throttle body, throttle spool cover here, which tells me, yeah, this is a late 81, right? So it's still an 81, but most of the 82s and 83s all came with that, including a lot of the Late-VIN 81s. Reading the emission control information sticker, they vary. Mine is definitely different than that. Some cite 81, some cite 82 cars, different information. So, looking at the undercarriage here, you've got your high side AC compressor hose, very little corrosion going on there. But it really doesn't look that bad. There's not a whole lot of rust here. There's some rust, some surface corrosion here on the tie rods and the coil springs and stuff like that. That's pretty common. You got some looks like some rust here on the upper control arm connection, but this is fairly common. It doesn't look advanced as far as the corrosion goes. Yeah, it doesn't really look that bad at all. So this does not look like a car that would need a huge restoration on it. He's got DMC oil filter here. It's probably the Bosch unit. Here's the stage 1 Gen 2 exhaust. Okay, so that would make this street legal in California and probably other states as well. If that's an issue, I don't know. Looks fairly new, like it was just put on recently. I didn't happen to see any invoices for VIN 6797. Definitely an older or a more recent 81, Late-VIN 81 here, right on the cusp between an 81 and an 82. Very similar to actually Chris Miles, his project car that he's working on right now, which he'll be offering up for sale, is also a Late-VIN 81, right on the cusp between 81 and 82, which I feel like is really the kind of car that people should try to go for. If you want a good car, by the time the 82s came around, a lot of the issues have been worked out at the factory or the QA centers, right? A lot of the issues had been worked out, and these 82s, which there's a lot of, the 82s, the 83s. The 83s really just revinned 82s. A lot of the issues had been worked out already. And so I think whoever lands this car should be okay. I mean, it's a nice car. We're still at 35,250, 16 minutes to go. So Liquid Snake has joined us here on DeLorean Tech, and he's trying to win this car. So Liquid Snake, I hope you win, man. So you've wanted a DeLorean since high school, and that was a decade ago. So awesome, man. So yeah, same here. I remember in high school, that's really all I dreamed about was getting one. And it was just one of those things where I begged my dad, hey, let's get one. Actually, I remember begging him when I was in junior high, let's get one. And that was a long time ago, right? So, but my dad, he's a car guy, but he's one of those guys who he's a looker, not a buyer. So it was a while before I finally got my DeLorean. It's never too late to get one. Yeah, prices have gone up, but I remember when I was buying my first DeLorean here 4 years ago, prices were up, but you could still snag a good deal, right? It's all about timing. There's a lot of other factors involved in getting one of these cars at a good deal, right? Automatic, right? Not a lot of buyers want an automatic. They want the manual, right? For whatever reason, it's fun to drive, and the Back to the Future DeLorean was a manual car, right? It had the grooved hood, so that's what I want, right? So, but you know what? All that stuff, at the end of the day, it really kind of doesn't matter. It's still a DeLorean, and this is a Late-VIN 81 DeLorean. Gray interior, automatic. It's a kind of car I would consider picking up as a project car. But, and I actually did think about it. I was like, wow, this car is just sitting here at 22. Is anyone going to bid on it, right? Maybe I should. I mean, it'd be a steal to get this car for less than 30. Now that we're in the kind of the 35 range, close to 40. I've decided to kind of bow out because, you know, let somebody else have that opportunity. This would have been a great car to work on, do some upgrades, do some videos, right? With the DeLorean Tech car right now, I've kind of got it up to where I want it. There's not a whole lot of big stuff to do to it. I've got a couple things on my list that I'm getting to, but I've found myself sort of looking for stuff to do to the car. So, and that's like, you know, things like, you know, I want to, you know, replace the radio, take the Craig out and put the ASI back in, which I kind of didn't need to do, but now I do because all of a sudden the Craig stopped working. So I've got a new video coming out on how to remove the original radio and how to do it real easily. Couldn't find a video on YouTube, so I've created one, and that's coming soon. I'm actually thinking about going with the retro sound setup now. For years I was all about the original Craig radio or the original ASI. So my car is an 83. The previous owner, who happens to be the original owner, swapped in a Craig unit for some reason. I don't know why yet. I'm thinking maybe the tape deck went out on the ASI and they wanted it working. So they swapped the Craig in. They also did a CD changer installation at the same time. But now the Craig has sort of crapped out on me, and I pulled it out. I'm thinking about putting the ASI in just to see what happens. But the retro sound option, that's kind of a thing I want to do. So that might be coming soon as well. So Liquid Snake is saying that the video made the hood look much worse. Should I worry about that hood leaking? Well, you know, yeah, because if you're in Florida and you're driving out in the rain, you know, and that hood is fairly raised up at the end there, right, or at the nose. Water might get in, but I mean, you could seal that off, right? I mean, there's ways of doing it. It won't look great, but if that's your concern before you get it fixed, there's ways to seal that off. Now, if water gets in the trunk, there's not a whole lot of electronics and stuff in there to worry about. There's ways you can take some weather stripping and seal that off so water doesn't get in there, or at least not a lot of water, right? There's already the boot seal, right? That's already in there. I don't know what it looks like on the end. We can take a look at some photos here. I know he's got a few photos of it opened up, so you can kind of see what's going on here. It doesn't look that bad. I honestly don't know what the issue is. It's kind of hard to tell. There might be some issues here with the hinges. So he's got this, looks like the seal is still on there. That can actually be taken off, and you can actually, there's some flexibility in moving that around too. I actually did that because I noticed I was getting a lot of dust and stuff in there. So I actually had to move it around a little bit just to make some adjustments to it. It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, he's got the seal along here. You can see it. But again, as far as like, you know, worrying about water getting in here, I mean, the goal is really to get this car running, driving at a good price. That's kind of something I would worry about later on, right? I mean, hoods, again, if you want to keep that grooved hood, you can take the grooved hood off, throw a flat hood on there. I think DMC sells them for like $1,300 or something. Throw a flat hood on there. You might be able to get one cheap temporarily until you get this one fixed. I don't know what the issue is with this hood. It may actually be the connection point here on the car itself, so it's hard to say. We've got 10 minutes left. 32. Sorry, 35. I keep saying 32. 35, 250. Replace those fuel hoses. Absolutely, I agree. So the address of the auction is on the, it should be in the comments. If you go to the comment section of this live stream, I want to say I put that in the description. I'm pretty sure I did. Let's make sure though. Hopefully they won't ruin the design with the new electric version coming out in August. You know, that's a really hot topic of discussion. Right? The DeLorean Evolved. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, right? So there's some theories out there that it's going to look like, at least in some way, Tal Designs, I think it's the Da Vinci So I'm going to attempt to copy and paste the auction address here so you can kind of tune in on that as well. So here's the link to this auction address on Bring a Trailer if you want to, you know, check it out in real time here as well. But anyway, yeah. So getting back to the DeLorean Evolved, you know, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's it's definitely a long time coming. There's been talk about the new DeLoreans for so long, right? And there was always that snag with that federal requirement, the federal regulation, the low volume cars, right? And I think that still hasn't actually been worked out yet, at least not 100%. It's probably like 90%, 99% there or whatever, right? So I think it's really exciting. I am really looking forward to seeing what this car will ultimately look like. If it does look like the Da Vinci, that's fine. That's a cool looking car. Now, does the Da Vinci look a lot like the original Giugiaro design of the DeLorean? I mean, you know, not totally, right? It's got the gold wing doors and all that, but when you close the doors, does it look like a DeLorean? It doesn't look like the original DeLorean, at least not a whole lot, right? So, you know, but we don't know. I mean, that might just be like, you know, a distraction, right? Maybe they unveil this thing and it looks like, kind of like, you know, our Giugiaro designed cars. I don't know. So I think everybody's hoping for that, right? We're hoping that it's going to look like this, right? In some way, just an updated version of this. But let's face it, how many people have tried to update the look of this car, starting with this car as sort of the base design? Have they ever been successful? I don't think so. I haven't seen an updated, you know, modern DeLorean based on the original design that I actually liked. So I don't know if it's even possible to build on this and to make a better looking car. I just don't think it's possible to perfect or improve on this design. This design is a timeless design, all right? So there is no way you can fast forward this design to today and make it better than what you see right now. This is as good as it's going to get because this is perfection, right? You cannot top perfection. Now, you can go in a different direction and make a really cool looking car. And you have to admit, John DeLorean, he wanted to create a big car company and have different options. You know, the DMC 24, which was like a 2+2, I think it was, right? And other cars, right? He wasn't going to stop here. He was going to make other cars, right? And he wasn't going to stop at just stainless steel with a gray and black interior. He had plans for tan interiors, right? He had plans for blue interiors, burgundy interiors. According to Barry Wills, they were looking at tinted stainless steel. So stainless steel cars in different colors, or stainless steel cars with colors, right? So that would have been awesome. So there was a lot more to DeLorean's vision than just this car. Now, going back and getting Ital Design to work on a new design for the DeLorean Evolved, definitely a great idea, but I don't know that Giugiaro was involved. You know, this design here is going to be really hard. It's going to be hard to beat. So I don't think trying to beat this design really should be the goal, because you can't. You cannot beat this design. All right, it just isn't going to happen. So if people are expecting this, but sort of fast forward, like they did with the Mustangs and the Camaros and all that, right? That stuff kind of worked, right? But this isn't a Mustang, okay? This is a DeLorean, a completely different world altogether, right? So I think when Giugiaro designed this car, he totally outdid himself, right? And there was no way you could top it, right? So as far as DeLorean Evolved goes, I don't know. I'm hoping for a really cool looking car, but as far as, like, you know, something that looks like this goes, if it hasn't been done, right? They haven't done, at least in my opinion, an up-to-date DeLorean that looks great. Every time you see one, you're like, no, not really. I prefer the original '80s car, right? That's what you always say. There was a wooden prototype that someone did that looked kind of cool. I thought it looked good, but that was the only one, and it was really sort of a wooden sort of sculpture that a car designer, a student, had done. It looked kind of cool, but that was really the only one that I saw that would even look, as close to the original DMC-12 design that Giugiaro did. Right? I've never seen like the Chip Fu stuff. Nope. Not even close. All the other stuff that came about that sort of looked like this car, and they just kind of photoshopped it to look a little bit more modern. Not really. I just wasn't feeling it. It looked like it was trying to look like the original car, which honestly, I think if DMC moved into sort of a different direction with the car, I think that I would embrace that a little bit more. Now, if there was a way to pull it off, I haven't seen it done before, then hey, that'd be great, right? They might unveil this car and then people would be like, whoa, they did it. Oh my God. Like, finally, right? But I don't know. I don't know that that's even possible. I'm not convinced yet, right? I'm not convinced. So we'll see what happens. Again, I am really excited about DeLorean Evolved. I think it's an awesome idea for the mark to carry it on like this, and as an electric car, awesome. That there's still the 300 or so, the limited run here, that those might go electric as well, right? The low volume DMCs, the classic DMCs, that's still on the table, right? They haven't really sort of said, oh, we're just not going to do that anymore, and we're going to focus on DeLorean Evolved. I still think the original DeLoreans, the 300 that they were talking about doing, I still think that's on the table, and I'm pretty excited about that as well. I think it'd be great if they released them all together. So here we are with 2 minutes left, and so Liquid Snake is still number one here as far as getting this car, man. So Liquid Snake, I hope you get it, man. It sounds to me like it'll go into good hands here. If you can get it for under 40, man, then congratulations. Let's hope. Yeah, DMC Florida, man. I would recommend those guys, right? So Delivering the Dream, right? So DMC Florida, they were the ones who restored that car that went to Christopher Hogarth. Did a really great job. He's driving that car around. It's a great car. I want to say he was asking me whether or not he should replace the grooved hood with a flat hood on that car for whatever reason. I guess there was some scratches or something. I don't know. He wasn't happy with it. I think his grooved hood looks great, but Chris Hogarth is a very particular car owner. He wants absolute perfection. So I said, you know what? Go with a groove or a flat hood. Personally, I think the flat hood looks better on the DeLorean than a grooved or a gas flap hood. So we've got some bidding action going on here. We're up to 35.5 now, and now we're up to 36. So we got a little bit of a bidding war going on here. So Liquid Snake has taken it back at 36,000. So as far as the flat hoods go, personally, I think it actually suits the car more than the grooved hood. Why does it suit the car more than the grooved hood? Well, do you notice any other grooves on the car anywhere else? Not really. Are they kind of out of place? Do they really suit the car? I don't think they do. I mean, yeah, they are there, and right, they add a little. I guess they add a little extra to the hood, but the reality is, if you look at the flat hood, that suits the DeLorean more than a grooved hood. Now, does the grooved hood look good? Yeah, it looks great. I remember when I was looking for my car, I wanted the grooved hood. Why? Because that is the signature, right, of the DeLorean. Back to the Future. The A car is an 81. It's got the grooved hood. People want the grooved hood. That just, is their picture of a DeLorean. Wow, this is going up. 38,000 already. Okay. So, depending on your preference, the groove hood may be one of those things. But hey, you can get a really nice looking flat hood for really cheap. Okay, they're plentiful. You can take the DMC or the DeLorean badge off of it, right? I know an 81 owner We did a video on his car, an automatic, stage 2 automatic transmission. In that one video we did, the automatic versus manual, he's got a flat hood on his 81. It looks awesome. He just took the badge off, and it looks great like that. So that's an option, right? And you can just keep your grooved hood in the garage and display it like my buddy Chris Hogard is doing with some extra fenders that he picked up. And he's contemplating swapping the hood off, swapping that hood out for a flat hood that looks perfect, right? It's flawless, and displaying maybe the grooved hood. I don't know, or maybe getting the gentleman from Europe to come out and do a restoration on that hood. We're up to 38,250 right now with a minute to go, and Liquid Snake is once again in the lead at 38,250. Still a great deal for this car. 38.5 now. So we've got this guy. Liquid Snake pulls in again at 39,000. So let's see what we got here on the chat. Hey, Liquid Snake, sorry to hear about your father, man. Sorry about that. So yeah, you know, more power to you if you can land this dream car of yours, man. We're rooting for you. So if you want to develop a DeLorean, you need to follow Lotus guidance. So as far as the new DeLorean Evolved goes, I don't think, oh, we're at 40,000. I don't think Lotus was involved. So Ital Design doing the conceptual design of the car. I honestly, I haven't looked into the Da Vinci too much. I don't know who built it. But you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that would be interesting if Lotus had a hand in it. I just don't think they're going in that direction. Gas flap hood is more convenient. Darcom here is saying that the gas flap hood is more convenient. It is for filling up the gas tank. But here's the problem. So I, you know, have a flat hood. I lift mine up whenever I fill it up with gas. And I'm very religious about making sure I don't get any gasoline dripping on the car. So, you know, I take a rag or something and I make sure that it's not gonna, you know, drip gasoline on my DeLorean. So that gas flap is just it's a little door. You flip it open. You have access to the filler cap. There's usually a lock on there that you'll have to, you know, if that's what you've got, right? If not, it's probably not a big deal. Most people garage their cars anyway, and not worried about somebody getting into their gasoline, right? Is it more convenient? Well, slightly more. I mean, lifting the hood up every time you fill is really not a big deal. It's, you know, honestly, the gas flap hood, you know, some think it's more convenient, and I guess it kind of is. But opening the hood up is actually pretty easy to do. And if you've got Toby's hood latch, the electric hood latch opener, the hood popper, it makes it a lot easier too. I've got a couple ways I can open up mine pretty easily, and it really is not a inconvenience to have to open the hood up to fill up the car. Absolutely not. And I respect the gas flap hood owners out there. It's definitely part of the history of the car. It's those early VINs, right? But the only issue I would have design-wise is it breaks up the design. It breaks up the lines of the hood. Same thing with the grooved hood. I do prefer a flat hood on my car. My car's an '83, so it's got to have a flat hood. I would agree, and I would respect owners of '81s. They want to have that grooved hood because that was what came with the car. But the reality is that does it really matter at the end of the day, right? I've had just at shows people coming up to me asking about the car, you know, like, hey, what year is that? And you know, if I'm with other owners, we've got all of our DeLoreans lined up. I've had a few folks coming up to me and they want to know the differences, and I pointed it out, right? And little differences that people just don't notice right off the bat, like the grooved hood, right? Most people don't notice that right off the bat, and you'll explain it to them. And a lot of these people will say, hey, look, I like the flat hood. It just looks better for some reason, right? Like it just suits the car when you start noticing those little differences. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of grooved hood fans out there, and I definitely respect you guys. So we're at 42,388 right now. So we've got quite a bit here This car has shot up about $20,000 today. $20,000 today. We've got a minute left. The car, 42,388. Of course, every time a bid comes in, you get that 2-minute reset until we get to the point where we don't get any more bids in. We got 24 bids total here. We are rooting for Liquid Snake. So David Bublitz says that it's very interesting that all the DeLoreans popping up for sale have the original fuel lines. You know, it's to be expected, I think. You know, a lot of these cars that are popping up maybe just, you know, haven't been maintained or updated over the years. Maybe they've just been sitting around, right? Just owners just waiting for that day to, you know, sell the car. I don't know. So fuel lines, absolutely. More than likely, they're going to be original. Most of the guys who have replaced their fuel lines have done it because, you know, they want to drive the car and they want to drive it safely. They don't want the car to catch fire. So we have a video on how to do that. It's entitled "Don't Be That Guy." So don't be that guy with the original fuel lines, right? That's definitely, it's a safety issue. If I were to get this car, that'd probably be the first thing I would do, is replace the fuel lines, right? Especially if you plan on driving it. The car is already running. You know, it could be fairly well turnkey. He's got the video showing it running. It sounded good. So we'll have to see. Current bid at 45.5. So 45.5. So this is getting closer to the 50 mark. Yes, we have a video on on the fuel lines. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not incredibly difficult. It's more of an intermediate level, I think, job. It's very time consuming. You really need to know how to do it, right? You don't want to twist the new lines. You have to be able to route the lines properly because they really are kind of all over the place in there. I've seen guys install the fuel lines here. Oh, we got 10 seconds left. 45.5. Is this going to happen? Is Liquid Snake going to get it at 45.5? Oh, 46.5. So we got 2 more minutes left. So anyway, as far as the fuel lines go, you know, again, intermediate job. I know a few guys that have tried it themselves. Some of those lines were kinked because they did not route those properly. So you really need to know what you're doing. It's better to have that done by someone who's familiar with the car and has at least done it a few times, right? Now you can watch the video we have. That video, you know, was actually filmed over the course of many hours, so I condensed it down quite a bit. I think we got it under an hour, but there was a lot more to doing that replacement of those fuel lines than what the video is showing. And I think I noted that this doesn't really go into in-depth, but it's really intended to give you an idea of what's involved in replacing the fuel lines. So you can go ahead and check that video out. Again, I would recommend having someone, a qualified technician who's familiar with this car, or at least the PRV in general, and have them do the fuel lines. As far as what fuel lines to get, you know, there's obvious choices out there. DMC, DPI, DeLorean Go. They've got the braided stainless steel fuel lines. I haven't heard anything bad about any of those options out there. I definitely recommend going all 13 lines. I don't recommend just doing the 9 and then waiting to do the other 4 later. Do them all at the same time. So Liquid Snake, at 47, still a great deal. I want to say the last DeLorean, the Hot Wheels DeLorean, sold for about that much. I think it sold for, was it 46,250 or 47,250 or something like that. This is at 48.5 now. So Vela is the other bidder on this one. So Bytes 311 is saying he had a kink in his original return line at the fuel distributor, right? So that could happen, right? You need to make sure that you know, you route those lines correctly, because kinks and stuff like that could definitely happen. So you got to know what you're doing, right? And I think in the video that we've got, we kind of demonstrate how to do that. Okay, so Mark is saying here that the British set, so the Europe fuel lines are already preset at the right angles. So that definitely helps out because you do have to adjust for those angles. And you got to know what you're doing. You don't want to mess those fuel lines up. So again, fuel lines, don't be that guy, right? So whoever lands this car, that should be the first order of business, right? Get those fuel lines in. It's really like a $400 parts if you decide to get, hopefully Liquid Snake, if you can land this one. DMC Florida, right? They're right there. Just take it over and say, hey, I want these fuel lines replaced. DMC, they sell the same quality fuel lines as DPI and DeLorean, the braided stainless steel braided fuel lines, right? You can go with the black jacket. It makes it look a little bit more original. Or you can go with the stainless steel look, which has the clear sort of jacket over it. That looks pretty cool too, right? It all depends on your preference. Some of these guys want the colored ones. Those look cool too, right? If that's your thing, go for it. Just do it. And while you're at it, maybe get the... well, he just replaced the fuel filter on this one. He got the fuel filter, the accumulator, and the injectors replaced. So all that stuff is already done. The only thing left is the fuel lines, and we got 5 seconds left. 4. Oh, we're past the 50,000 mark. So 50,100. So who knows how much longer we've got on this. 2 more minutes at 50,000. So 50,600 by Liquid Snake. So Liquid Snake definitely wants the car. And 50,000 really is still a good deal for this, right? So you've got cars selling for in the 70s and 80s. So there was a 2 Bring a Trailer auctions ago. There was a BAE turbo car, which was very original. Okay, that took 88,000, right? 88,888. So that kind of tells you where these cars are at. Now it had the turbo in it, right? But does that make it, 30,000 more than a $50,000 car? Nope, not really. And it's just the BAE turbo too, right? Which was probably going to help with the acceleration, obviously, right? But everything else in the car was fairly well original. I want to say, it obviously wasn't like a stage 2 or anything like that. I'm not even aware of a stage 2 with a turbo. I'm not even sure. There might be one out there. I honestly don't know how that would even work, if that's even a thing. But that was an original, very original. Even had the NCTs, the Goodyear NCTs on it. So Liquid Snake, you're dying here. Yeah, I feel you, man. I mean, it went from 22 to 50, right, in the span of a few hours today. So hopefully, hopefully you can land this car. The DeLorean Go British set. I've heard good things about those fuel lines as well. Yeah, again, hang in there, man. So let's see what happens. We're down to 16 seconds here. And this is a pretty cool car if you can land it. We got 3 seconds left. Well, Vela wants it too. 51.2. I was about to say it's a really nice car. I mean, it is a gray interior automatic, which if I were to get an automatic, that's what I would want. And you don't see them that much. Every time I see an automatic, it's a black interior, which, interiors can be changed out obviously, but it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot of work to do that. I prefer the gray interior cars myself. I don't know, it's just my thing, right? Black interiors can look pretty nice as well. And you've got some of those guys out there, like my good friend Christian Dietrich, who's got sort of the black and gray mix interior that looks pretty awesome too. So there's definitely some options out there, but as far as interiors go, this is the one for an automatic. Let's take a look at that one more time here. So yeah, I mean, that just looks great. I mean, with the automatic, yeah, it's very nice. It reminds me of my car. That's probably why I like it so much. It just looks appealing. So we're at 51.7. I didn't see. I'm not sure if Vela is in the chat or not. Liquid Snakes 51.7. We've got almost a minute to go here. So looks like my buddy Romel is also online here. He's on the Bring a Trailer with his popcorn. So Romel, if you were in that last auction, not the DeLorean auction, but the Marty truck auction, the Statler Toyota, he took that one. So hopefully, I think he's got it in hand. I don't know. That's going to be cool. So I'm really eager to see that photos of that car. I don't know if he's announced whether or not he got it, but I think here on Bring a Trailer, everybody's pretty aware that he got it. So um, that's going to be really awesome. So we're at 51.7, got 30 seconds left. We're all rooting for Liquid Snake, right? Come on, man. How do we know the reserve is met? I didn't know there was a reserve on this. I didn't see it, so I don't know. I thought there wasn't one. Anybody in the chat know if there was a reserve on this auction? I can't tell. It doesn't say that there's a reserve on here or not, unless I'm not looking in the right spot. So I don't know if there's a reserve. I don't think there is. I can't tell. I mean, there was a reserve once on the that DPI twin turbo that I think it was a twin turbo that several months ago. I guess there was one. We did a live stream on that one too, and it didn't make the reserve. It came in at like 80,000 or something like that. But it was obvious that there was a reserve on there because it said it in the auction. At least I think. That's what I remember. Oh, sold. All right. Winning bid 51.7 Liquid Snake. So absolutely, got to give him a congrats here. So Liquid Snake has prevailed, has pulled in this DeLorean for a little over 50,000, which is a great deal, especially when these cars are going for in the 70s and 80s. And this car looks good. You know, it looks great, and hopefully we'll be seeing more about this car in the future. So you got to keep us updated, man. So it looks to me like you're in Florida. So the car will be delivered from New Jersey. So I don't know how much that would be, but it can't be this much because this is all the way to Southern California. So it doesn't look like the transportation is going to be much of a big deal for you. 51.7 automatic gray interior Late-VIN 81 ideal car to get. It's the car I would want if I were to get an automatic, a Late-VIN 81 that runs, and the car runs, and we've got the videos here. 51.7, not a bad deal. I'm happy for you, man. Now you're living the dream. Team Snake, absolutely. So Mark, you're right. This chat is Team Snake, and Team Snake has won. So Team Snake just landed this great automatic gray interior 81 DeLorean with really arguably the only real issue is the hood. I mean, that's a non-issue to me. So the comments on here, a lot of congrats. Yeah, thank you, Jesus. Absolutely, man. You know, maybe some divine intervention. I don't know. But this is good. So Vela conceded right here. I guess maybe Vela's. It looks to me like Vela was also just bidding on this. So $51,700. Congratulations again with Liquid Snake. Keep in touch with us, man. We wanna know about the car. Let us know how it goes, and you know, if you take it over to DMC Florida, you know, let us know, right? Like I'm assuming maybe you'll get the fuel lines done. Or something, you know, other stuff, right? Have them go through the car, kind of get an estimate of what needs to be done. They'll do that, and they'll give you the estimate. Usually they'll hand over a large estimate because, you know, they'll go through it 100%, right? And but just pick the top items from that list that they hand to you and get the most important stuff done. I would assume fuel lines at the top of that list. Right? You might want to look and see what's going on at the fuel pump too. Check out those lines, see what's going on there. I don't remember if they said that they installed a newer fuel pump. You can go with one of the GM style units from like a 99 Tahoe. That's what I put in mine. You can see that in our video. That thing has worked flawlessly for many, many, many miles so far for me. That's the way to go. I don't have to worry about hot start issues anymore. I just had the fuel accumulator replaced in mine. My car starts up quick, fast. I feel way more confident driving it around since I did all that stuff. So fuel line, fuel system stuff, definitely get that stuff out of the way. All right, so we are at the end of our live stream here. Again, congrats to Liquid Snake on landing this 1981 DeLorean with an automatic and a gray interior, Late-VIN 81 for 51,700. I don't know if there are any more auctions that have appeared on Bring a Trailer. I guess we can find out here. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So if we search for DeLorean, these are always fun. And there are no like active auctions, just sold auctions here. So 47,250. This was the Hot Wheels DeLorean, which I thought was also another great car that sold for a great deal for the buyer. This is the one right here that sold quite high. You know, I guess about what you would expect the car to sell for these days, right? So these last two here, the winners of these auctions really got a smoking deal, I think, based on what we've seen on these two cars here. So are the values of DeLoreans going down? You know what? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of external factors going on. The price of gas, for example, has just skyrocketed. So a lot of people are less apt to go out and buy new cars right now, maybe. I don't know. You know, so there's a lot of factors out there influencing the prices of these cars. You know, the fact that it's an automatic, maybe, you know, that has something to do with it, which personally I don't think it really should, but there's a lot of folks out there, they want that manual transmission. Well, this one here sold for a little less. It was a stage 2 with a manual transmission. A great car. So these two right here are really good examples of where you can actually get a pretty good deal. I mean, I remember just a few years ago, 50,000 for a car seemed kind of high, but now we're looking at in the 80s, right? So anyway, that's just some commentary on DeLorean prices, and they're kind of all over the map. But look at this. If you look at the historics for the past 5 years here, they're all kind of hovering under or around this 50,000 mark, even today, right? You have a few outliers here going over 100,000. Only 4. Look at this. So here you got your Johnny Carson. Then you've got your Time Machine. Remember that one? The 159. And then you've got another Time Machine for 178, right? And then we've got Nick Reed's car way up here. That's a whole nother animal right there, right? So these 4 here are really not the norm. Johnny Carson, 2 Time Machines, and Nick Reed's twin turbo Kia swap DeLorean. Those are not comparable cars, right? There's you know, the Johnny Carson really is that's Johnny Carson's car. Of course, it's going to sell for 100,000, right? Next one down from that is the 888, which just sold for a couple weeks ago here on Bring a Trailer. So, smoking deal. There's the one that didn't meet the reserve. There's that turbocharged DPI car. I don't know what ended up happening with that car. It bid up to 80, didn't quite hit reserve. I was thinking reserve was probably like 85 or 90. You know, a lot of money went into that car. That was a very nicely done car, but it just didn't sell. This one here, 1,900 mile. I mean, it's an 81 for 75,000. So if you look at what else has sold here, 65,000 for a 81 5-speed. Here's one for 60. So yeah, 51 is still a pretty good deal. This one here sold almost a year ago for $50,000. So 52.5 right here, back in June of last year. So would I say this is a good deal? Yes, I would. 51.7. So there you have it, guys. Anyway, so I guess we'll have to find out when the next Bring a Trailer auction is going to be. We'll do another live stream. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for joining us here in the chat with Team Snake. Congratulations once again to Liquid Snake for winning this auction, and thanks for watching.